Well, it's a long story, but
what we need to do is heat the windows again.
Hi everyone and welcome back to Building Wilda, where Axel and I try to complete the build of a beautiful Schionning Wilderness sailing catamaran. In this episode we tell you more about our windows saga. A few episodes ago we started working on our windows. We actually wanted to make our life easier and decided to outsource the job to Steve, our area window maker. He made and installed the cockpit windows made in acrylic and aluminum frames, and we were happy with the result and the installation. Then Steve started working on the salon curved windows. This time the job was not as easy and successful. However, we tried our best to help Steve, as we were really interested to get the job done as quickly as possible. So Steve made the curved window templates in paper, and then he came to our boat shed and had them adjusted. Then he molded the acrylic material using the window cutouts we provided. The acrylic was then brought to our shed for final fitting and for cutting to size. The molded windows turned out to be slightly over-curved. At the time, we had to leave Australia due to visa reasons, and Steve was left with the task to finish the curved windows for our boat. He could either have them remolded using the existing material, or he could try to fit them in as they were. He was supposed to gather some more knowledge and insights from a business partner in regards to whether the curved material as it was could possibly fit in, otherwise he would have had to make new windows for us using the window cutouts we provided, but with new material. Needless to say, we always made ourselves available in the shed for window cutting and fitting, and spent quite a significant amount of time discussing installation options and materials. We really tried our best to check and fit the over-curved windows into the boat. Axel also placed the windows under the sun, trying to allow the material to relax a bit more and to hopefully get less of the bulged in the middle appearance. This attempt was also not sufficient to achieve the result we wanted. So the agreement was that Steve had to come up with a solution for us, and we were really hoping that when we returned to Australia, the windows would be much closer to installation than ever before. So now, fast forward a couple of months later, here we are back in Australia, picking up the windows topic where we left it.
I like your apron.
yes. It's a special edition for winter.
So what are we doing today?
Well, it's a long story, but to present it briefly,
We're
we're
making
making a male and female
mold,
mold for the curved windows in
Yeah.
the salon
so that
that
when
need
the
to be rebaked
yeah,
and reshaped.
so when the windows cool off, they will not be able to bulge in the middle, which has happened to the ones that we have here. So this will hopefully stop them from bulging in the middle, and yeah. Anyway, long story and short. we are doing this to get the windows to fit the boat, basically.
As we learned, things don't always go to plan. Upon our arrival back in Australia, we were informed by Steve that due to some strange turn of events, he wouldn't be able to sustain his business anymore. However, he said that he could potentially finish our window job if we could make these male-female molds for him to use for our windows. So we left everything aside and we started working on the molds.
Yeah. So now,
Next step is to mix this epoxy and epoxy batch, and we're gonna glue this wooden frame to the MDF sheet in place to make sure it stays there.
This is a 9mm MDF sheet. It's on top of our first mold,
which is basically the window cutout.
Which is the window cutout, yeah. So, yeah.
Let's do this. This is window number 1 or window
of 4 that we need to do this with.
So we have 2 large ones like this and 2 smaller ones.
We started yesterday, so it's a little bit faster than I expected, but it's annoying to have to do this.
But it's still taking time.
Yeah, it's taking way too much of our time. It should not be necessary.
Anyway,
it is what it is.
The epoxy is ready for application.
Yeah.
It is indeed very sad to hear that somebody is running out of business, and we try to understand the situation and to cooperate as much as possible. On the other hand, we are also doing this alone in a different country where everything costs money, where we chose to finish the build. We also have time constraints, and the reason we chose to get help for the Windows job is because there are many items on our to-do list. This was not one of them.
So our window guy wasn't quite able to mold our front windows, well, any of the molded windows really well. So as the windows cooled, they contracted differently to what was expected, and the curve that we needed to get into the windows was exaggerated. What we need to do is heat the windows again. Hopefully, maybe we can use the same material, otherwise he'll have to get new material for us. And as the acrylic cools, we need to put pressure on it. So forcing it to cool and relax in a shape that's similar to the boat. So for some reason, the window guy isn't used to making molds, and so I'm making these, or we're making these. Not that we're used to making molds either, double-sided molds, but shouldn't have to be done, but we're doing it. I have a feeling there are other ways to do this, maybe cooling down the glass or the acrylic slower or something like that. Anyway, it is what it is. We're doing this, and not super happy about it, but yeah, we need windows. Got this done yesterday. I wonder what happens when we remove the clamps, if anything moves or if it stays as it stays like this. I hope it just stays like this. This mold is oversized to the window. Now it should come off, but I have screwed the top mold to the bottom mold to ensure a fairly good fit. trim the MDF that I put there. By trimming it, it'll allow me to clamp this much easier.
And so, after about 2 days of thinking, planning, gathering materials, cutting, shaping and gluing, the first male-female mold for the windows was complete. We had another 3 more to go.
So there's no need for any of this to be particularly exact. The only real reason I'm doing this is so that it'll be easier to clamp. And that's the big ones. We're quite a bit off, and the 2 smaller ones are maybe not as much off, but because the bend is so localized, it would have made it very difficult to get those windows in nicely. So what we've done here is make a male mold, or 2 molds to mold the glass or the acrylic in between. So we're using the cutout as part of the mold, and then I've shaped this piece of 9mm MDF to the shape, to the curve of the cutout. Yeah, I'm using my little Japanese saw there to get this shape right. This is the first test fit, and it's not that bad. Got a bit more to take out to get it to sit flush all the way. this is what the finished two-side molds look like. That should do the trick. They'll need clamping both sides, about 3 clamps each side. So, but I believe the window guy only makes one at a time. So, yeah. And I put some locating holes in the molds, yeah, so that everything sits right, and then just clamp them. There's a bit of a mismatch towards the edges and ends here, but that will not be a problem. If they're slightly less curved, if the windows are slightly less curved than they should be, that's much easier than an over curve, because pushing the window in the far edges is much easier than like pulling that out while gluing it in. So this should work out. I didn't realize at the time when making these that I was bending the back. I should have, of course. They're equally wrong now, so that's gonna work. They're close enough, I'm sure. And tomorrow the window guy will show up, and we'll see what he says.
The following day, Steve showed up. We were hoping to show him the molds and to get some feedback about how to proceed next. We didn't film the conversation, however, we were told that he had already sold his entire equipment and he wouldn't be able to help us further. We now had to find another contractor to finish the window job for us. We hope you stick around to find out more about the window saga soon. News like this can be quite upsetting and can really slow down our enthusiasm and determination to get things done. But we have to make a fresh new start again the following day. Thanks for watching. Your comments and likes are highly appreciated, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so yet.
Hey buddy, are you lonely there?
Sleeping in the mud.
He's not sleeping in the mud. He just found a good spot to cuddle himself in.
I'm sorry.
Oh. Oh.
You're a good dog.
Good dog.